Okay, the other two cars in the Chafin John Cooper Works garage are the GPs. So let's start with the GP1. GP1 was made in 2006, 2,000 units worldwide, 415 to the United States. This is one of 415, and they're all numbered. This one numbered 629. I bought it from a nice gentleman in Kentucky. He was the first owner. I'm the second owner of the car. It has just over 2,000 miles on it. It has been essentially set up for track use, but it hasn't seen much track use. It has a list of modifications on it that I'll put down in a comment section or someplace. And essentially, it's a stage 2 tune, catless downpipe, a header, injectors, some suspension work, and very little on the cosmetic side. I do know he painted this grille black. I have the original one, which is I have the original parts on all the parts on the car. It has some Detroit tune, brakes and brake rotors. So this is a great, fun track car. Just a blast to drive. And hopefully I'll never sell it, or never have to sell it. It's a raw car to drive. Short shifter and pretty sensitive throttle, so fun to drive, but definitely more set up for track, even so more than I'd say the GP3 is, which we'll get to in a second. So all the GPs 2006, 2013, which I don't have yet, and 2020, they all have a rear seat delete. They were all made with some weight reduction. This one has a shoulder harness built in, which I can't seem to get to at the moment, but in any case, it's there. So again, set up for track, but they all have great exhaust, stock exhaust. It still has a stock exhaust on it. And what's really cool on this one, the previous owner, Ron, he sold me a trailer that had track wheels and tires. I'll probably show you that in a second. Anyway, had a trailer that came with it. They had custom made, and there's the receiver hitch for the trailer, which of course added a little weight to the car, but I don't think it's very much. But it's a pretty neat modification that you don't know that is really there unless you know. So that's the 2006 GP1, and it's an R53 car, so if you know your minis, it's really the smallest of all the minis that they've made, this being the 2019 John Cooper Works F56 that I made a separate video on. So let's jump over to the GP3. So the GP3, I don't have the GP2, which came out in 2013, which is also a great car from what I understand. I have driven them, but I don't own one yet. I'd love to have one in the collection, so I have all three. But the GP3 was scheduled to be released in 2020, and of course we had this really cool thing called COVID, so it was delayed to 2021. So they're actually 2021 registered cars, but they're really 2020 cars, and a lot of them were on the road in 2020. So besides the size difference between the GP1 and the GP3, and there is a massive size difference. I mean, the GP3 is much bigger, wider. The other interesting things on this car, and the ones, I guess the attributes that are most talked about, both good and bad, are these fenders or fairings that show the number. So the GP3 does not have the number on the top. It's got the number on these both sides of these. And whether or not these actually produce any effect on the car in terms of aerodynamics, who knows? They come on the front and the rears. You either love them or you hate them. And there are both camps out there. So the story on them is that they were made because legally, when you produce the car, it can't have a wider wheel than the side of the car. So they wanted a slightly wider wheel, and they put these on so that it didn't, protrude, and it was legal. Who knows if that's really true? That's the story they're going with. So they come on both sides. And the other thing that's talked about a lot is this rear wing, which is massive. And I think it's one of the coolest parts of the car. Again, I have no idea what sort of aerodynamic efficiency is created, if it produces any downforce or not, but it sure looks cool. So in the rear of this car, also the same rear seat delete, strut brace. I think these strut braces are mainly cosmetic, and they kind of keep things from flying to the front if you have them in the back. The seats on this car are they're very snug, and they're great. I actually like them a lot better than the GP1 seats. I think the GP1s in the rest of the world, not in the US, may have had Recaros. I think the GP2s did for sure. But these seats are just wonderful. The GP3 is an LCI 2 version of the car. It comes with the creature comforts that the GP1 does not at all come with. GP1, it has cruise control, which is interesting. The GP1 does, but the GP2 does not. The GP3 has cruise control, and it even has CarPlay and nav. Sorry about that. And nav. So this car is actually a pretty good highway driver. It's a little bumpy. It's certainly a little harsh, but it has nothing as raw feeling as this car. I mean, the GP1 is, again, and it's been modified, so sure, it's a little stiffer, but it's definitely for me, it's more of a track car. It is not a daily driver, whereas this could be a daily driver, and some people use them as daily drivers in stock form. But it comes with the Union Jack taillights, and again, I mentioned the CarPlay, and it's got the BMW style, gear shift. These are automatic. So the GP1 and GP2s are 6-speed manual transmissions. That's the other kind of controversial thing about the GP3, is that they're automatics. Now they're quicker than the manuals, but they're not manuals. So a purist, and I like manuals. I've got 2 of them. Purists would say, no, don't want that. But, man, it's fast. So, be that what it is. So that's the GP1 and GP3 in my garage. I got one more vehicle to show you here in just a minute that you probably saw a hint of in the background. Okay, taking you a little deeper into the garage here, this is the trailer that the previous owner of that GP1 had made, custom designed to be towed by that GP1. And here are those aforementioned wheels for the track use, toolbox, everything on top of this trailer. And this trailer connects into a special receiver hitch that's hidden away on the GP1, and it's pretty cool. I've only used it one time, and that was to bring all this stuff home. Every other time I've taken the car to the track, I have towed it on a trailer. So while it's a cool thing, it's never really been used except to bring all this stuff home.